After months of deliberations and negotiations, Nigeria has announced a new minimum wage of 70,000 naira. The announcement followed a second meeting between the president and representatives of organized labor. Our State House correspondent, Adesua Omorwan, reports.
It's 2:15 p.m. and representatives of organized labor and their affiliates arrived the forecourt of the presidential villa. Inside the brown room of the president's office, the stakes are high. The meeting goes behind closed doors. After an hour, if the mood in the room was any indication, an agreement had been reached.
We're happy to announce today that both the federal government and the organized labor have agreed on an increase on the 62,000 naira minimum wage. The new national minimum wage that we expect Mr. President to submit to the National Assembly for legislation is 70,000 naira.
Beyond the new minimum wage, other concessions were announced, including the payment of withheld salaries of some labor affiliates.
First and foremost, that the review of this minimum wage policy has to be reduced to 3 years. That is, 5 years is too long a time to get any minimum wage review. And of course, he promised and asked that the Minister of Finance, coordinating economy and budget and the economic planning should make sure that they go back to books, because he has the discretion to look into of NASU, ASU, and SANU and all that, and so that their money should be paid.
But that is not all. There is also a boost, like Mr. President has assured, in ensuring that massive investment is going to be made in the area of infrastructure. There is also a deepening of the investment of the federal government in renewable energy. More money is going to go into the acquisition of more buses, the CNG buses.
Leaders of the labor unions took turns to explain their reasons for agreeing to a 70,000 naira minimum wage, down from their initial demand of 615,000 naira at the start of negotiations.
Rather than accepting on a figure that you wait for 5 years, it's like you have to now negotiate even 2 times within 5 years with a view to going up. That is one of the reasons, why we decided to reach where we are today, because of the proviso that, you can review in the next 3 years. The other one, we came with other issues in the basket, like the issue of SANU, NASU, and others, especially with that front by the Commission of Police, FCT. We brought it to Mr. President and talked on the need, for that matter to be addressed. And magnanimously, he asked the agencies concerned to work out the modalities for the payment of those workers in the universities. You can see that we are taking this with mixed feeling because of the situation of the economy, but we have to move ahead.
Why this became a catch, because we from organized labor, we have been pushing that the issue of 5 years review is too much, that a lot of economic indices may have changed, because we are in an era where things are moving very fast in terms of both macro and microeconomic policies. But with also the caveat that this is going to be done every 3 years, 3 years, the next review will be 3 years, and after that pronouncement, we from Labour just has been said that, well, we have received what the president has promised from both ends.
Labour had demanded for a living wage to reflect the cost of living crisis. The push for a new minimum wage began 2 months before the 2019 Act expired. The president then formed a 37-member committee from the government, private sector, and organized labor to review the wage from 30,000 naira. In June, the committee completed its assignment and submitted the report to the Secretaries of Government of the Federation, but the parties failed to reach an agreement. The federal government gradually increased its proposed minimum wage from 48,000 naira to 62,000 naira, while labor unions lowered their demand from 615,000 naira to 250,000 naira. Both proposals were forwarded to the president for final decision. Another nationwide strike may have been averted in Nigeria. The president is expected to transmit the new bill to the National Assembly next week. But it is left to be seen how the subnational governments and the organized private sector, who have raised concerns about paying beyond 62,000 naira, comply with the new law. From the presidential villa, Adesua Omoruan, Arise News.
Joining us now on the show is Benson Upah, Nigeria Labour Congress National Head of Information. Good morning, Mr. Benson Upah. Thank you for joining us. Well,
good morning, Dr. Bati.
I see that Labour is in a celebratory mood. The president and Labour have agreed that, well, 70,000 national minimum wage. Government is going to provide Labour with CNG buses. There is a reduction of the negotiation period from 5 years to 3 years. So, I mean, how loud is this celebration at Labour headquarters?
Well, Dr. Bati, you know, you're a man of letters. You're also a learned gentleman. But I think a celebration here is an overkill. We are sober. I do not think what has been offered could be described as a victory per se. Even as our national leaders are taking what I've been told to the appropriate organs this morning for further deliberation or consultation. We are taking this on a note of somber mood, because given the fact of the realities of our economy, 70,000 is not it. It will not be it. And no kind words, no diplomatic language can take the place of pangs of hunger. This will be my response.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Upah. I believe that the reason the term celebratory was used was, I don't know if you saw that video, that report from Adesua, State House correspondent. They were singing, they were cheering, they were giving busas to the president. So it seems like your position and the position of your president is quite different. Or at least the people who went to that negotiation, they seemed quite happy at the end of that meeting, even though you don't seem very happy. So maybe that's why there's a disconnect there. And maybe perhaps you reflect the feelings of the workers in Nigeria, because there have been notes of disappointment. There have been notes of perhaps, you know, this, what you talked about, the reality of the amount of goods or price of goods and food in the market and how much money has been agreed on, the hope that organized labor gave to the Nigerian worker, saying that, oh, they had calculated, and you have been on the show a number of times to defend your position. So I'd used the word disappointed earlier on during the show because of how much hope you had given to Nigerian workers. What do you have to say about that?
Yeah, first and foremost, do permit me to say that that there is no disconnect between me and what my president has said. If you listen to him carefully, he said we are taking this with a heavy heart. The solidarity song that they sang is traditional of labor people, for good, for bad. They sing that song, and they always cap it with the saying, the struggle continues. Victoria Asata. So that song could be sung in any environment. If the mood is on the light mood, if the mood is on the heavy mood, either way, I mean, that song is available to labor people. Now, coming to the issue of the Bosa, yeah, the Bosa also applies. But in any case, let us be factual here. The discussion deadlocked on 62,000, and here was Mr. President saying, okay, I'm going to add something. But of course, he was not the first president to do this. I do remember one or two presidents did this a kind of markup. I'm going to mark up. And then he added 8,000 plus other incentives, which whether you like it or not, signs of a good a negotiator, you know. So he played the game well. So that alone was a sufficient reason to say, okay, let us look at what the man has offered. Let us look at what Mr. President has offered. We will take this home to our people. If you notice, both the TUC president and NLC president say, we will take this back home. And I assure you, in the next 2 or 3 hours, a meeting will hold, at the end of which a formal statement will be issued.
Mr. Upah.
Yeah, thank you.
Mr. Upah.
Doctor? Yeah, doctor, I'm listening.
Yeah, no, this
Yes.
is Rufai. This is Rufai. Let me give you
Okay. I missed your voice, I'm sorry.
Okay, let me give you the feedback from the streets.
Yeah.
The feedback is this. Labour has wasted our time as Nigerians. And Labour sold out. That's the feedback. Because from 650, which you kept on harping on, to 70,000 naira. This was you that made all the arguments. In fact, we had fisticuffs back and forth. Oh, would I buy a bag of rice and everything? Labour sold out. Apart from the CNG gas, what about the electricity tariff reversal Labour advocated for businesses? What about other things Labour advocated? So that's the feeling. And this will not make people take Labour seriously. Again, that's the feedback. So that's the feedback. You sold out, you wasted the time of Nigerians.
Yeah.
You still went ahead to collect 70K that Obaseki has already started paying. That's the sad reality. That's how the cookie crumbles.
Yeah. Okay, excuse me. Mr. Mr. Rufai. Let me say that such a conclusion will be uncharitable and will be unfair. First, let me tell you that Labour did not sell out. Labour didn't sell out. Labour fought with everything in the bag. Labour did all it could, fought against dissenting governors, fought against an unwilling federal government, fought against a reluctant organized private sector. These are entities you can't easily, these are entities you cannot ignore. Labour stood alone, fought these entities. And also take note that, like litigation, there must be an end to negotiation. The alternative to Labour being obdurate, if that is the appropriate word, will be that
Mr. Upah.
something will have to give way.
Mr. Upah.
Yes, sir.
Okay, we have to go right now.
Yes.
I'm told we're short of time. But very quickly, at previous meetings.
So, but I want to ask,
At previous meetings, Labour will say, Labour leaders will say, oh, we want to go and consult Congress. This time around, they didn't go to consult Congress.
Yes.
The president just told them, we are offering 70,000 naira, and they agreed. What changed this time with Labour? Briefly, because we have to go in less than a minute.
I think what they said they were going to consult their people. That was what they said.
But they've already accepted.
Whatever was said at that meeting was not, no, it was not conclusive. Did they sign any document? No. They said, we will go and consult our appropriate organs, and I assure you that this morning, that there will be a meeting. At the end of the meeting, there will be a public statement. Okay?
Okay.
But like I said, but you more than anyone else, Dr. Batty, you know, as I said previously, that there must be an end to negotiations. Okay? If there is no end to negotiations, there will be problems.
Thank you, Mr.
We are not excited by the 70,000. We're not excited by the 70,000.
Thank you,
that
Mr.
point
Upah.
has been made. Comrade, thank you very much, Dr. Batty. Thank you. I appreciate
very
it.
much.